Why don't you feel jealous of me? Let me tell you a story about my wife Tamarka's nephew, who is the son of her older brother. Despite living in different cities for a long time, we still manage to meet a few times a year. Andriushka, along with his wife Julia, often comes to visit us and stays with our son Dinka. The boys have practically grown up together and developed a strong friendship since childhood. During one of their visits, we had our usual family gathering to celebrate their arrival. We enjoyed a feast, engaged in conversation, and exchanged news and memories. Afterwards, as part of our tradition, the girls went to the steam bath first, and then the three of us, me, Andriushka, and Dimka, followed. While the husbands were away, we engaged in a more candid conversation. Andriushka shared an interesting fact with me, which I'll now retell for you. I observe you and you, Lenka, I began, and I can't help but feel happy for you. Despite spending so many years together, there is still a spark between you. That's what it means to find your perfect match. Bo Petrovich, it's not appropriate to talk like that. Andrei immediately responded, I'm fortunate to have Yelka, and I wouldn't want to jinx it. Both she and you are fortunate, I continued. I suppose I'm luckier with her than she is with me, Andrei concluded with a touch of mystery. After a few more lines of dialogue, he proceeded to tell me the following events in chronological order. This year, the situation became interesting, or rather, foolish. I only realized its foolishness later, but at the time, it seemed logical to me. It all began during winter. I had to stay late at the office once again due to work with my partners. We were discussing important matters for the future of our company. When it was already dark outside and all the employees had gone home, we decided to order some food delivery to keep us going. However, during our impromptu dinner, we got sidetracked from work and started discussing personal matters. One of my partners began by saying, I look at my watch and realize I'm going to get an earful from my sweetheart. After we finish eating, I'll need to call her at least, or else she'll bombard me with questions like, where were you? Who were you with? Do you have someone else? What surprised me the most was that the other three partners not only understood, but also actively supported this topic. It turned out that each of them had a spouse or a mistress, and they were all plagued by jealousy and irrational reactions to work delays and other situations. As I listened, I realized that I had nothing to contribute since Yilka has always been understanding and has never caused a scene. They started educating me, as they called it. They painted vivid pictures, and the conversation concluded with the notion that if she doesn't exhibit jealousy or control, then either she has someone else or doesn't love me. Although faithfulness was never in doubt, it was this phrase that lingered in my mind. If she's not jealous, it means she doesn't value or love you. Days turned into weeks, and the thought consumed me. I began to view our relationship from a different perspective, analyzing and trying to understand various aspects. It occurred to me that I wouldn't know whether she's jealous or loves me if I never gave her a reason. Maybe if I create the appearance of a reason, I can find out. Let me clarify. The thought of infidelity never crossed my mind, but creating an appearance seemed possible. The first opportunity presented itself naturally. I had to stop by my parents' place after work since my mom called and asked me to visit, even if only for a short while. My parents were at the dacha cellar, sorting out some preserves and wanted to give me some. I arrived, we had tea, and chatted briefly. As my mom was seeing me off at the doorstep, there was an accidental movement during the farewell, and she left a lipstick mark on my shirt. No, it wasn't like in the movies, a clear lip print, but a noticeable smear of lipstick. On my way home, I pondered, Yulka didn't mention the reason for my delay, and there was lipstick on my shirt. That could certainly cause jealousy. Upon reaching home, Yulka was in the shower. I quickly put the preserves in the fridge, undressed, and waited for her to finish. When Yulka emerged from the bathroom, I wore a tired expression and casually mentioned that I planned to take a shower and go to bed. Seizing the opportunity, I asked her to wash my shirt, mentioning the lipstick stain. Yulka responded, "Don't you have enough shirts? I'll wash it as soon as I do the laundry." I waited for a day, then another, until Yulka finally started doing the laundry. I saw her sorting the clothes by color in the laundry basket, thinking everything would be resolved. But to my surprise, nothing happened. In a rather conspicuous and shameless manner, I walked past the bathroom, pretending to reach for something on the shelf. And I could clearly see that she noticed the lipstick stains while turning my shirt inside out. But she didn't say a word. We were about to go to bed when I decided to initiate a conversation. "Yul, I'm exhausted," I said. "I thought you would make a fuss about the lipstick on my shirt, but you? What's the fuss for?" Julia calmly replied. "How many times have I told you that there's always a logical explanation? You said you were delayed that day, and when you asked me to wash the shirt. Then in the morning, I noticed the jars of preserves in the fridge, which means they must have come from your mom's place. It's not like you brought preserves from your supposed mistress. And as for the lipstick, I recognize that shade a mile away. It's the pale pearlescent blue eyeshadow that only your mom wears, just like she did in her youth. That was my first attempt, and I thought it might be a fluke. So I decided to come up with something more substantial, something that would provide undeniable proof of my alleged infidelity. I went to a lingerie store and chose the most seductive bra, one that clearly indicated the wow size of my supposed mistress' breasts. I hid it in the glove compartment of my car, waiting for the perfect opportunity to plant it. Soon enough, that opportunity arose. A couple of days later, I asked Yulka to pick her up from the shopping center. I drove there, waiting for her in the parking lot. As we headed home, I saw my chance. "Yulia, there are wet wipes in the glove compartment. Could you hand me one?" I began. "The steering wheel feels sticky. I'll wipe it at the next stoplight." Yulka calmly sat in the front passenger seat, opened the glove compartment. I glanced at her discreetly as she took out a bra and placed it on her knees among the other items. She found a pack of wet wipes and handed one to me. Then she neatly placed everything back in the glove compartment. Unable to contain myself for more than 5 minutes, I started talking again without waiting for any reaction. "Yul, don't you find anything concerning about this? Maybe there's something you want to tell me," I asked. "What do you mean?" Yulka replied nonchalantly. "Well, doesn't anything bother you at all right now?" I questioned, surprised by her reaction. "Do you have something specific in mind?" Yulka responded casually. "Well, yes. Don't you find it strange to see a bra in your husband's car? Is it a normal or habitual occurrence for you? Does it not make you uncomfortable? Does jealousy not cross your mind?" I probed. "Andrew, everything has a logical explanation," Yulka continued in her nonchalant manner. "Let me give you a simple and logical explanation. This bra is brand new. It doesn't even have a price tag. You're not a woman, so it's difficult for me to explain how uncomfortable it would be for your supposed mistress to wear it without removing the tag, especially one that big. It makes sense that this bra has never been worn. It was recently purchased, and judging by the cup size, it wasn't bought for me, but it also wasn't for a mistress." "Why? Maybe it was for a mistress?" I asked, surprised. "You wouldn't just hand a gift to your mistress without any wrapping, would you? You would at least pack it nicely or buy a beautiful package," Yulka continued. "You wouldn't just give her a bra like that, would you?" It seemed like everyone else had their fair share of mishaps, but I had 2 pancakes instead of 1. Well, I thought, they say good things come in 3s, so I decided to keep trying. Sometimes Yulka spends Saturdays at her mom's place for a sleepover. It happens about once a month. They do their cleaning together, engage in girl talk. It has become a tradition over the years. I thought I would try something this coming Saturday. Anticipating Yulka's usual early arrival home on Sunday, I prepared myself very well, or at least I thought so. In the bedroom, on the coffee table, I placed a bottle of champagne with 2 glasses, a plate of fruits, and scattered rose petals on the floor from the bed to the bathroom. I was so nervous, afraid of overdoing it, that I didn't sleep the whole night. I aimlessly flicked through TV channels, lying in bed, and then around 8 a.m., I heard the key in the front door. I tried my best to appear sleepy and even covered my eyes as if I were still sleeping. "Ah, are you still asleep?" Yulka calmly asked in a hushed voice, entering the bedroom. "Oh, Yulenka, hi. What time is it? Have you already arrived?" I tried to sound as groggy as possible. "It's just past 9. It's still early. Go back to sleep and I'll make breakfast," Yulka calmly said, taking off her clothes. "Oh, I'll clean up here," I said, pretending to be confused while looking at the rose petals on the floor. "Isn't that for me?" Yulka asked after changing her clothes. "No," I answered, puzzled. "I'll clean it up." "I see," Yulka replied and went to the kitchen. From the kitchen, I could hear the sound of running water and the click of the gas stove being turned on. I was paralyzed. Not a single question. Can you imagine? Not one question. Well, I put the bottle and glasses on the bar, grabbed a broom, and started sweeping away the rose petals from the bedroom to the hallway. When I finished, I picked up the plate of fruit and brought it to the kitchen, considering it an opportunity to enter and start a conversation. I sat down at the table, hoping it would prompt a discussion. In silence, Yulka remained silent too. I started to think that she was about to explode and not only say something, but even threaten me with divorce. "What are you cooking?" I couldn't hold back and began, realizing that I needed to somehow initiate the conversation. "Pancakes with cinnamon. My mom also gave me some homemade sour cream that someone gave to her. We're going to have a feast this morning," Yulka said cheerfully. "Just 5 more minutes and everything will be ready." We ate in silence. When I realized that Yulka wasn't going to confront me and, unfortunately, wasn't planning to feel jealous, I decided to ask directly. "Yul, aren't you angry?" I asked, realizing that my elaborate scheme hadn't worked and feeling a bit defeated. "Angry about what?" Yulia finished her tea calmly. "Well, you came home and I struggled to find the words to express my thoughts." "You mean the imitation of having a lover?" Yulka asked calmly, now looking at me. "Imitation?" I was surprised. "I saw the rose petals from the moment I entered. I thought you were preparing a surprise for me." I entered the room to find an unopened bottle of champagne and 2 clean glasses. "You were pretending to sleep," Yulka explained. "What if I did have a mistress?" I went all in. "A mistress?" Yulka smiled slightly. "And you spent the evening with untouched fruit and an unopened bottle, especially just 1 bottle." "Yulka, tell me honestly, why aren't you jealous of me?" I asked directly, realizing that my next scheme had definitely failed. "Because I trust you," Julia replied confidently and calmly. "If I didn't trust you, why would I be living with you? I would have found someone I trust instead. But they say that if you're not jealous, it means you don't love, you don't value," I mused. "Who says that?" Yulka asked curiously. "Everyone. Well, maybe not everyone, but people say it," I replied. "Andrew, I've always thought you were the only man who would go through a midlife crisis." Yulka continued with a smile. "Don't forget that your wife is a family psychologist, and not the worst one. I've been preparing for your midlife crisis for so many years, imagining all the scenarios in my head, or at least I thought I had. I'd prefer if you continued puzzling me with these charades rather than running after younger girls in your 40s. "Yulka," I said gratefully, not knowing exactly what to say next. "When you're done playing these games with your imaginary mistresses and jealousy, maybe we can talk about children? If you're ready, I've never had a child, and I don't think I will. Can we discuss adoption? But only when you're ready, or if you're ready." You know, no matter what they say, I believe that jealousy isn't the most important factor in confirming love. By the jealousy and loyalty are two words that contain the same letters, just arranged differently. It could be a mere coincidence, or perhaps there's a deeper connection. Those who value loyalty are less likely to succumb to jealousy, especially when trust is present. As for me, I've never really pondered whether Tamarka is jealous of me or not. If the topic ever arises, I'll be sure to ask her if she's experienced moments of jealousy. If her response is intriguing, I'll be sure to share it with you. No matter what they say, I believe that jealousy isn't the most important factor in confirming love. By the jealousy and loyalty are two words that contain the same letters, just arranged differently. It could be a mere coincidence, or perhaps there's a deeper connection. Those who value loyalty are less likely to succumb to jealousy, especially when trust is present. As for me, I've never really pondered whether Tamarka is jealous of me or not. If the topic ever arises, I'll be sure to ask her if she's experienced moments of jealousy. If her response is intriguing, I'll be sure to share it with you.